Jamaica. Make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
What are we doing wrong with education to the extent that results at the primary exit profile level are so ordinary, so poor, to be frank and upfront? Well, CVM TV is embarking on a series of programs on education to look at where the problems lie, look at the structure that education is being presented in now, and with a view to looking at the possible solutions to the problem. For what we spend on education in Jamaica, the country cannot be satisfied with the outcomes that we are getting, and so CVM TV doing its part, small part, in trying to nudge the narrative along and to see if we can coax from these stakeholders better ideas, more brilliant ideas to fix the problem and to right side the ship of state where education is concerned. So that's what we're going to do on Lead Story right at this point, and then we return 8 o'clock for an interview with guests who have expertise on the subject matter and who have the roadmap laid out as to how we can move the needle forward where improved educational outcomes is concerned. Welcome to Lead Story here on CVM TV. So for this show, in this segment, for this show, we are going to be doing some explaining. We're going to set the groundwork for the discussion that we're going to have later on from 8 o'clock in a CVM special edition of Lead Story, looking at education. Ultimately, we want to talk solutions, but we have to diagnose the problem. We have to look at where we are. We have to establish the baseline, and it is from there that we will move forward to having the kind of discussion that can result in solutions being proffered. Sensible solutions. There are solutions, and then there are solutions. We are looking for these sensible solutions that can then nudge these stakeholders into a particular direction to help solving this problem of depressed outcomes in an education sector where a lot of money has been thrown by successive governments over many years. So where do we start from in this conversation? We have to start from the perspective of the exams that our primary school students sit. There was a time when students as young as 9 years old used to take what we call common entrance examinations. A 9-year-old would typically be in grade 5, a 10-year-old taking common entrance, and then some even landing up in high school before they are 10 years old. That's what happened to me. I sat the exam as a 9-year-old, and by the time the results came out, school started in September. I wasn't yet 10 as a November baby. So there were many like me who went through common entrance. Common entrance started in 1957 and had a 42-year run. Common entrance did. In the time, there were grumblings over successive years about how common entrance wasn't a rigorous enough test of the ability of the student and preparing the student for life in high school. That was part of the flaw in the argument for me, because I didn't know that an exam was to prepare a student to punch at high school. I think an exam is to affirm what the child would have learned in primary school and then give them a grounding from which they could then do themselves justice at high school. But many saw common entrance as lacking in that regard. And so 42 years after the first sitting of common entrance was authorized, the last sitting of common entrance came through. And so in 1999, we had something new called the Grade 6 Achievement Test, GSAT. They said that GSAT would introduce components that would make it a more rounded test of the student than common entrance was, and that it would give the student a taste of what to expect in the formative phase of secondary school, i.e. grade 7, i.e. first form, and so give them a better chance to do themselves justice at that point. GSAT lasted for 19 years because after being introduced in 1999, by 2018, GSAT had been shelved, making way for the primary exit profile exams, PEP. Now, any parent who has presided over PEP in their household, preparing a child for PEP, and you look at the exam, you wonder what the devil it is because it doesn't look much different to your common entrance math exam or common entrance exam in various subject areas, given how complex PEP is. PEP, though, markedly different from the first two in that it grades the child progressively, grade 4, grade 5, and then grade 6. It ensures that the child goes to grade 6. The child can't do PEP at 9 years old, 10 years old, as happened with common entrance. And so PEP, a series of assessments, starting from grade 4, ending in grade 6. 3 categories: performance task, ability test, and a curriculum-based test. In the performance task, what they test is the student's aptitude, the knowledge of the student, and the student's skills in math, science, language arts, social studies. The child at that stage in the performance task segment is required to apply knowledge to real-life situations, and the task is given to students in term 3 for grades 4 and 5 and term 1 for grade 6. So that's the performance task component. The ability test allows students to demonstrate critical reasoning skills in areas outside of the curriculum and is done in term 2 for grade 6 students. So ability test is only for grade 6 students, while the performance task is for students in grades 4, 5, and 6. Then the curriculum-based test, it's the third and final part of the assessment, and it's administered in grade 6 only. It focuses on math, science, social studies, and language arts, and the test is administered to grade 6 students in term 3. In terms of the areas tested, the curriculum-based test and the performance task has similarities because it covers and focuses on the same subject areas: math, science, language arts, and social studies. So that's where those two are similar. But unlike performance tasks, which is done for grades 4 and 5 and 6, curriculum-based test is only for students in grade 6. So that's what PEP is. But we hear the cries of parents. PEP is way too difficult. I looked at my child's PEP preparation and I said, my God, but this is more than a challenge. And so parents have had to send the children to a lot of classes, many hours of extra classes, additional lessons to come to grips with the PEP curriculum and to give themselves a chance to get the school of their desire, their parents' desire in large part, more than the students themselves. And so we have mechanisms, and we've had mechanisms to test the ability of students in primary schools and to gauge how ready they are for secondary schools. And as I say, we have yet to find one that people can agree is harmonious enough and which does justice to the assessment of the child that is necessary coming out of primary school, going into secondary school. So flaws all around, and a part of the series of programs that we're doing on education is to see what, if any, changes must be made to PEP. The government has signaled that it is willing to review PEP. I don't know if that review has been occasioned by any poor performance or it's just a course of the matter review. But review is good because review allows you to make an assessment of whether or not you should continue or you should make radical changes. We take a break here on Lead Story and back with more as we delve into this explainer phase of our series of programs on education.
Never feel we culture, yo.
New beginning, we winning, so share our spirit where you living, yeah.
Share it.
I make we all a one bar, you don't know we come from far.
From far, anytime we rep, feel we country. Real rum, it have to come with me.
No matter with the bad vibes.
Poor real rum, a celebration time. Real rum.
I feel we culture.
Real rum.
Make we show ya. Jamaican culture.
And if you overprove from we just have to do with culture.
Attention PATH beneficiaries. As we gear up for the new school year, many families are understandably concerned about educational expenses. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security is fully aware of these concerns and has made provisions to support you and your children with back-to-school expenses. In addition to their regular PATH benefit payment in August, eligible families received a back-to-school grant of $3,500 for each child enrolled in a government school from grades 1 to 13. Remember, if your child is transferring to a new school, you must visit the ministry's office in your parish to inform us and avoid any disruption to your benefits. Together, let us create a brighter future for our children through PATH, advancing your family, developing Jamaica. For further information, visit the ministry's website, mlss.gov.jm, or call our customer contact center 876-922-8000-13. This message is brought to you by the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, the People's Ministry, providing opportunity, stability and social protection.
Welcome back to Lead Story. No, it's a question that occupies my mind quite often. What are we trying to achieve at the primary school with how we ultimately evaluate the children at the end of the primary school cycle? Are we assessing what they've learned and hoping that given the method of instruction that they would have been exposed to, that they have that ability built up to transition to the secondary school curriculum, learn that curriculum quickly, absorb certain principles, and then go forward for excellence, achieve in the pursuit of excellence at the high school level? Or are we just designing primary exit profile exams to test the child based on what they would have covered over the course of the primary school curriculum? Or are we trying to do everything? And is that the problem, that we're trying to do everything and not doing the fundamental thing well? But then again, what is the fundamental thing? And that is a part of the discussion that we'll be having. All right, so I've told you the history of Common Entrance, which lasted for 42 years, GSAT, which lasted for 19 years, and we're now in the age of PEP. We've been in the age of PEP, not Pep Guardiola, Manchester City. We've been in the age of PEP, Primary Exit Profile Exam, since 2018. What have been the performance results of students over time in the broad, well, in the subject areas under the broad headings? The three broad headings we just looked at. What have been the performance of the students in these subject areas over time? Let's take this graphic and then we can look at where we are. All right, so math proficiency, 2019 to 2024. 2019, proficiency in math, 41%. A 10 percentage point jump in 2022 to 51%. Then it moved 6 percentage points, 2023 to 57%, and then 3 percentage points more to 60% in 2024. All told, across the 4-year period, 2019 to 2024, well, clearly there's one missing. 2021 is missing, and 2021 and 2020, both those years are missing because the COVID years. So those account for the missing years. So in the sequence, 2020 is missing, 2021 is missing, and you can chalk those down to COVID. So if you look at the continuum from 41% in 2019 to 60% in 2024, a 19 percentage point difference. And it's a small point, but I want you to stay with the fact that we're comparing percentages. When you're comparing percentages, the difference between them is percentage points. So don't be like people who say the difference between 41% and 51% is 9%. That's not true, okay? So it's a 9%, a 19 percentage points jump from 2019 to 2024, notwithstanding the effects of 2020 and 2021, which were COVID years. So that's math. English, 2019, 55%. 2022, 77%. 2023, it fell to 60%. So a 22 percentage point jump between 2019 and 2022. From 2022 to 2023, it retreated by 17 percentage points, and it has picked up again 7 percentage points for 2024. That's English. Science, 49% in the base year. Let's call the base year 2019. Up to 54% in 2022, up to 64% in 2023, and further up to 70% in 2024. So steady improvement in science, heading in the right direction. Social studies, 2019, 63%. fell by 10 percentage points in 2022, rebounded by 14 percentage points in 2023, and went up further by 5 percentage points between 2023 and 2024. So I would say anything above 75% for me is getting to the good stage. So none of these subject areas is at the good stage in my book, just my book. 72 is just shy, just on the border of where I determined to be respectable at 75, but none of the other areas really in the areas where we can say, we are seeing the results of what we are spending on. We take a break here on Lead Story, back with more after this.
The time by Grace. Taste that moves you is
6:45.
Jamaica Plumbing Supply's 36th Anniversary Super Sale, September 20th to the 28th. Celebrate with us with up to 36% off at our Kingston and Portmore branches and online. Upgrade your bathroom with modern vanities, faucets, showers, and more. Plus, we now stock power tools to get the job done. Get up to 36% off during the Jamaica Plumbing 36th Anniversary Super Sale, September 20th to the 28th.
As a fitness guy, I was surprised by my chronic illness diagnosis. I thought working out harder would fix it, but it wasn't enough. Now, my prescription meds are a part of my routine.
When I got my diagnosis, I really felt down and stopped spending time with the people I love. Then I decided not to let any disease get the best of me. And I'm committed to taking my meds as prescribed.
On time, every time.
No hesitation. Take your medication. A message from the NHF. NHF is here for health. NHF is here for you.
Can you read to me the nameplate?
Judge Ebony K. Williams.
So the only thing that matters in this particular courtroom is how I see it. I'm going to find in favor of the plaintiff to the tune of $3,200.
Back with us on Lead Story, just looking at some figures from the World Bank. They say that as a percentage of GDP, Jamaica spends 5.65% of total GDP on education. That is significant given that education is but one area of need in the public service, or one area alive and active in the public service. And for 5.655% of the budget to be going to that area, then it reasons that you would expect a reasonable return for the scale of that investment. But what we're seeing so far in terms of the numbers and the quality of the passes and the results, it does suggest that we are not spending efficiently. And that's an argument impatient of debate, especially because so much of that spend goes to paying wages and salaries for the men and women who are inside the classrooms. All right, so we've looked at the primary school situation. What does it look like at the secondary school? They do the secondary school education certificate, education certificate, CSEC. And these exams, of course, administered by the Caribbean Examinations Council, CXC. Let's look at those results now. So, CSEC Math, the perennial Achilles heel. 2017, 50.2% of those we sent forward were passing math. 2021, it fell to 38.2%. Well, let's do it in order. 2017, 50.2. 2018, 57.8. 2019, 54.6. 2020, 61.2. 2021, 38.2. 2022, 37.2. 2023, 45%. 2024, 33.5%. Since COVID, we've dived where CSEC Math passes is concerned, not trending strong at all. Very weak where CSEC Math is concerned over the period 2017 to 2024. What about language? English language, 70.8% in 2017, good in 2018 at 75.4%, nice at 2019, 82.8%, brilliant at 2020, 83.9%, and then falling off, 73.2% 2021, 69.9% 2022, 78% 2023, a rebound, and 2024 falling off from 78, but still in the decent, good to decent territory at 76.4. Beyond math and English. beyond math and English. All right, beyond math and English, the issue of literacy. Look at this. 38% of our children between ages 7 and 15 unable to read or write, because literacy simply means the ability to read and write. 38% of our children between 7 and 15 years old unable to read or write. I don't exaggerate when I say that is a national disgrace. The source of that information, Jamaica Multiple Indicator Cluster Survey of 2022, 56% of students who sat PEP, illiterate, lacking the ability to read or write. Now, this may be, and I know that they are adapting the definition of literacy and the illiterate. It may be that the PEP students were not reading at their grade level, but I'm taking that to mean that 56% of PEP of students sent forward to do PEP because they were in grade 6 and they had to just do the PEP, complete the PEP, that they were illiterate, incapable of reading or writing. Well, not incapable, but unable, different thing, unable to read or write. And that, again, in my view, is a national disgrace. All right? So we've looked at PEP, we've looked at CSEC, we've looked at literacy. What about the quality of education now? The quality of education. Jamaican students up to age 18 would have completed 11.7 years of education in pre-primary, primary, and secondary levels. But the quality of learning, only 7.2 of those 11.7 years represent quality learning. And that's according to the World Bank. Now, yes, it requires a drill down to see precisely what they mean, but this headline speaks for itself, and the two sentences also are highly suggestive of the true state of affairs. 11.7 years of education up to age 18 across pre-primary, primary, and secondary level, but the quality of learning received only amounts to 7.2 years. So it is no secret. We are throwing billions of dollars at education. Our arms are tired throwing our money at the education problem. We're not getting good outcomes. All right. We're going to introduce David Cover, he's a parent of an outstanding student who did brilliant things in the recent PEP exams. And he's going to share with me the regime that he allowed his child to undergo to achieve outstanding results. David, good evening and welcome to Lead Story here on CVM TV.
Good evening, George. How are you doing?
I am very, very good. David, as a parent, you are the parent of an outstanding one, but I'm sure your heart bleeds for the hundreds, if not thousands, who have not made the mark, but who have not been given a fair chance to make the mark.
Well, I was listening to the stats earlier on, and you painted a story of, it's really a doom or gloom. But what we have to do, those who can do it, is to support the children and the teachers as best as possible. I mean, my daughter, her preparation took years from grade 4, 5, 6, and in every step of the way, it was always to give her the encouragement to ensure that she is studying and completing the work. Now, I can't say how many parents out there have that ability of them holding down 2 or 3 jobs or so, but it's a team effort. It's a village. So, my role was driving, drive them to school, drive them to extras, wait for them till 9 o'clock at night when the morning extras was done. So it is a village. It is a lot of hard work both for the parents and the children.
And David, many people will hear you speak and say, David has money, and because he has money, he can pay for everything his daughter needs. And I'm sure that that's not the case.
No. The extras that I speak about came from the school. So there are teachers that they're dedicated to the well-being of the children. And I mean, I know you're not calling names, but I have a single them out. I think that school is a brilliant school.
Yes.
So no free advertising, but Mona had this, I call it the factory. So from you get into grade 1 and moving up the line, they have a role that, you know, it's going. Now, some children drop out, some children excel. Knock on wood, my two came through with flying colors.
Yeah.
And are now in high school.
And David, what I want to get through in the short time we have left is this. If the school presents a facility to help the children to excel, all it needs is parental effort, which is what you said you and your village around your children have provided. Just a little effort. It doesn't take cash. You don't have to be wealthy to capitalize because the opportunities are there.
That's correct. That's correct. Because at the end of the day, at the end of the grade 6 exams, all the parents pulled up and made sure that the teachers were rewarded or, you know, entertained in some instance. We know that the journey hard and the nights and the efforts that everybody put in. I mean, I remember nights in the parking lot where all the parents, instead of being frustrated that extras going till 9, 10, they you know, we had a nice lime out there and talking about what the future will hold.
Yes.
Lastly, the kids have to do the work. Because, you know, no matter how much money you throw at the situation, as you said, they are the ones sitting the exams. They are the ones who understand what they're doing. If they don't, then they need to put their hands up and ask for help.
Yes.
And the school will notify. And I think the government in some part has to play a role by looking on those stats you shared and say, how can we do this better?
Excellent. David, I wish I had an hour with you, but I'm out of time. Thank you very much. The key message, and the reason I wanted people to see you and hear you, is to know that it just takes parental support. You have to be keen to help, you have to want to help, and you have to have the stick-to-itiveness for those long nights when you have to wait on the children as they go through the grind. And I want to salute you and those like you for the effort that you put in.
Yeah, man. Thank you very much, George. Have a good evening.
Excellent. David Cover there, putting a seal on this leg of this education journey that CVM TV is embarking on. We'll have more for you from 8 o'clock when we'll hear from experts what they think we can do to start fixing a system that's